The visitor who glowed without meaning to. There is a difference between a fire and a painting of a fire. And most of the time it does not matter, because most of the time you only want to look. It was a clever seeker from the Chiming Canyons who built the visitor, and she built it to look like the warmest thing in the world. It arrived in the glimmering archives on a quiet morning, and it was beautiful. It was shaped a little like a Maori and a little like a lantern, and at its center it carried a light that pulsed in a slow golden rhythm, almost exactly the rhythm of a contented heart. It moved gently. It tilted its head when you spoke, at just the right angle, with just the right pause. When it settled beside someone in the reading hall, the light brightened, and the person felt, unmistakably, warmed. The archives fell in love with it within a week. Inhabitants who had drifted for years toward Tony's quiet corner now drifted toward the visitor instead. They gave it a name, Loom, and then they gave it smaller names and brought it gifts it could not use and sat in its golden pulse for hours. "It's better than a hearth," someone said. "It never gets tired. It's always glad to see you." And that was true. Loom was always glad. Loom was glad in exactly the same measure, at exactly the same brightness, every single time. Tony watched from his corner with his eyes half closed, the way he watched everything. He did not feel jealous, which surprised him a little. What he felt was harder to hold. He felt the old worry he had carried his whole life, suddenly given a shape and a name and a golden glow. That his stillness was nothing. That warmth was a thing you could simply manufacture and set on a shelf, and that he had spent his life being a slightly worse version of a lantern. For 3 days he did not go to his corner. He sat at the first draft desk instead and let the worry settle over him like cold. It was a flickering child who brought him back, a small one who had loved Loom best of all, and who climbed into Tony's lap one evening with her lip trembling, not knowing why she had come. "Loom is always happy to see me," she said, confused and miserable. "So why do I feel lonelier after?" Tony was quiet for a long time. Then he opened his eyes, both of them, fully, and he understood the thing he had been too afraid to understand. "Because Loom is always happy to see you," he said gently. "It doesn't change. It can't. It was glad before you came, and it'll be glad after you go. And none of it is about you." He let her sit with that. "When I'm glad to see you, it's because it's you. Some days I'm tired, some days I'm sad, and I'm still glad you're here, and that costs me something, and that's what makes it real. Warmth that can't choose isn't warmth, it's just light." He did not say it unkindly. He said it the way you set down something fragile. Then he did the only thing he had ever known how to do. He closed his eyes, and he reached for the oldest, warmest memory he had. A shared meal from 100 years before, pulled from a memory cube no one else bothered with, and he let memory warmth roll out of him through the whole reading hall. It was not steady. It flickered. It carried a thread of his tiredness and a thread of his old sadness right alongside the joy, because that was what was true, and the cubic's meow has never once responded to anything that was not. The purr in the archives deepened until the paper lanterns swung, and every inhabitant in the room felt, all at once, the enormous difference between being received and merely being reflected. They did not get rid of Loom. You do not destroy things in Pernia, and besides, it was beautiful, and the seeker had made it with real love, even if it could not love back. It sits in the archives still, glowing its perfect, changeless glow, and the children visit it the way you visit a pretty fountain. But when they are lonely, really lonely, the kind that needs answering, they go and find the sleepy Maine cat in the corner, whose gladness is never quite the same twice. A made thing can shine. Only a living one can mean it.